Coming at you from Long Island, this is The Pump. Today I have former national bodybuilding competitor, Jason Gianelli.
Pump up the jam, pump it up while your feet are stumping.
So Jason, welcome to The Pump.
Thank you. I'm glad to be here.
And I just want to get into your career as a bodybuilder, what it takes to be a bodybuilder, what you personally experienced, why you got into it, and basically your story and your journey. And
Sure.
and about from where you were as a kid to now where you are today, and what you've gone through. So let's get into why did you first ever get into bodybuilding in the first place?
Yeah, well, I was a small kid growing up. When I was around 12, I started getting picked on in school. So I was short and skinny. So my brother, who's 7 years older than me, had a plastic weight set in his room. I don't know if you guys remember, you've ever seen
No,
the
I don't
plastic
even.
weight
Actually, I've
sets?
seen pictures of them.
Yeah. And they're so funny. They're cement weights. They're like, a 25-pound weight looks like a 45-pounder now. So anyway, I started working out in my brother's room, and he had a book. It was the Arnold Schwarzenegger Encyclopedia. That book basically changed my life. I wanted to be Arnold, and I loved his physique. I loved his charisma. Everything I brought to the table was what I saw myself as my future. So I got big into weightlifting.
And what age is this?
This was 12 when I started. By 15, I was no longer being picked on by any of the kids in school. I was actually, protecting what they say is the nerds. I was protecting the nerds against the bullies, which are the athletes of the school.
You're like a vigilante.
I was. I turned around and I said, you know what? Let me step in and make things right. So balance out the way it was, because it was always the nerds getting picked on and the athletes are the cool kids in school and the bullies. So I ended up beating up all the athletes and hung out with the nerds. So by the time I was 17, 18 years old, I wanted to get into bodybuilding. I did my first show. It was the Atlantic States. It was 1989. And I came in, I think, fourth place. I was happy to be, there for the experience, but I wanted to be a champion. So I really, started to read more about bodybuilding and learning that it was all about posing, presentation, the right music. Back then, we're talking early 90s, you couldn't have tattoos. Tattoos were shunned against. So if you had tattoos, you would lose points. You had to shave your whole body down because there's no hair anywhere on your body, nice and clean, a good tan. So it was a whole package of things that went along with the weightlifting. Weightlifting really made up about 25% of it. Your eating probably
Nutrition.
Nutrition probably made up 50%.
Supplementation.
Supplements.
Now, supplements, when did supplements really come out? Right. Supplements weren't
Yeah.
even a thing until like the late 90s.
Yeah,
When did they-
back in the early 90s, we had things like the Animal Pack, and protein was really it. There wasn't a lot of
MetaRx bars.
the Metrics bars and EAS, who was Bill Phillips, and there was not that much out there. As we moved on, things became more involved as the sport grew. So by 1994, I did the show called the Eastern USA's. Now, this was a top regional show here in New York. There was, I believe, 26 guys in my class. I won my class at that time. It was a lightweight, and I got the taste of victory, and that
Nice.
was addicting.
And that's addicting. Now, this
Yeah.
time, so how old are you here?
Okay, that was 1994, so I was 20 years old.
So 20 years old, 1994. You sent him some pictures. I'd love to pull up that picture.
Sure.
Do you have a picture of that?
Yeah,
think that's somewhere he can pull
the
up.
black and white pictures I sent you.
Yeah, no rush on that.
On
You know what I'm saying?
stage?
We'll
Yeah.
continue, but when he could pull that up, that'd be cool. We can look at
Yeah.
what your physique
There you
looked
go,
like.
right there.
That's wow. You look like an action figure.
That was a regional competition. That was the top regionals. That was the Eastern USA's. That was 1994.
And you're a professional bodybuilder at this point? Or
No.
Technically
This
still
this
amateur.
was this regional level. From here, I went to.
Now, wait, hold on. Let's just clarify. This point, you're totally natural, no juice, no anything.
That's correct. 100% natural.
100% natural physique.
So I went and competed in the Team Universe, where back then the Team Universe winner represented the United States in the Olympics. So that was a real exciting opportunity. I wanted to be that guy, and I thought I had the physique for it. Lo and behold, when I went to the show, There was again around 20, 25 guys in the class. I came in seventh, and I was heartbroken. I thought, I had the physique to make myself a champion at that point, and I didn't. I came back to New York, and I spoke to some people that were higher up in the industry, and I was told that I needed to move up to like a light heavyweight. And at that time, I was a lightweight, so I competed at 154, and my off-season weight was like 170. So I said, how am I supposed to move up to light heavyweights? I put on about 6 or 7 pounds of
And let's
muscle a
just
year.
confirm the weight of light heavy for bodybuilding.
Yeah,
What is the
that
weight?
okay. So that went from uh 180, I believe it was 186 to 198, somewhere around there,
Right.
or
And
176
at
to
this point, right, you're
yeah.
only like 5'7". How
Yeah,
tall are you? 5'6"?
5'7".
Yeah, five
Yeah,
seven.
yeah. So yeah, it was 176 to 198. It was a big open class. It was a lot of weight on there. You could be 22 pounds difference from the guy at the top of the class to the guy at the bottom of the class. So I said, "There's no way you could put that type of weight on." They said, "Well, you need to do steroids." And I said, "Well, I'm looking to have a family, and I didn't think I needed steroids to be a pro bodybuilder." And that was an eye-opening moment to find out that in order to be at the elite level of bodybuilding, you would have to use supplements like steroids, and then things like growth hormone, insulin, IGF-1. So there was a variety of different things that were involved, and I was not willing to go to that level. So I decided to make bodybuilding more of a hobby. It was heartbreaking because, again, like I said,
It
I
was your
thought it was,
childhood dream.
yeah, I thought it was going to be my future. So I competed only for a few years more after that. I stopped competing in 1998, and I didn't come back into competing until 2010. So it was about 12 years that I took off. At that time, I was married to my first wife, and in 2002, I had my first kid, so my son. And then I got divorced in 2004, and in 2007, I met my new wife, the one I'm with currently.
Who also is a physique competitor as well.
Yes, she got into competing with me because she had seen some old pictures of me from the Easterns and said I looked amazing. And I said to her, I could look like that again, no problem. And she laughed and, made some comments or whatever. So next morning she wakes up and I'm downstairs eating egg whites and oatmeal. She's like, "What are you doing?" I said, "I'm getting ready to do a bodybuilding show." She said, "What are you talking about?" I said, "I found the show 10 weeks away. It was the Atlantic States, and this was 2010. I had 10 weeks to get 35 pounds off me. And, I went over to Dave Palumbo's house. Dave Palumbo also has a podcast. He's very well known through the bodybuilding industry.
And where does he live? Where was he
He,
located? Long
yeah,
Island
the
guy?
Long Island guy,
Yeah.
yes. And Dave said, "You're never going to get the weight down. You need to do 3 hours of cardio a day." And, he put together a program for me. And he said, "I just don't think you're going to make it." And I said, "I'll do it." So from that day on, I went 3 hours a day doing cardio, 3 1-hour sessions. And I worked my ass off for 10 weeks. I made the weight class. Dave didn't even recognize me, Dave Show. He had no clue who it was. And I ended up winning my class as a middleweight. So I moved up a full class from being a natural athlete at lightweight. And then I started to, at 2010, I was still a natural athlete for the most part because I wasn't bodybuilding all the years prior. And I competed at 176 as a middleweight.
So let's see you at 176 as a middleweight now in 2010.
And right there, that was 2000.
Wow, that looks fake. Doesn't look. That looks like Batista.
That was
That's
2011.
Batista from WWE.
That was my best show. That was,
And that's now you're taking some shit there, right?
yeah. Well, I
So what-
was supplementing, but I wasn't using a massive amount of steroids.
So now at that point, how old are you?
2010, I was 37. So I was
37,
38,
late 30s.
38 right there.
Okay, 38 right there. So you are taking some. So what were you taking this? I'll just be transparent a little bit.
Yeah,
So,
no, I was taking testosterone. I was taking
Enanthate or-
Enanthate.
yeah.
I was using Enanthate, which was
Why
started-
Enanthate over Cypionate or Propionate?
Well, Enanthate lasted the longest. It was about 12-day shelf life in your body. So I was able to use Enanthate where I didn't have to take a shot every week. And then I was taking Anavar, which is a pill.
Okay.
And
Which Anavar benefits of it if you are not saying to do
it's a
steroids
conditioning
versus-
pill. Yeah, it's a conditioning pill. And I was using Primabone, which was also a conditioning drug. So I used a few steroids, 3 or 4 different steroids. Again, it's still about hard work.
Yeah,
At
exactly.
the end of the day, the steroids are a supplement. They help you, but they're not what you rely on to be a bodybuilder. You rely on your daily grind, getting into the gym, putting the hours in, putting the work in, Nutrition has to be super sound, and you have to really, put the whole
Sleep.
package together.
Sleep, hydration,
eating,
organization,
everything.
timing of your training, timing of your eating,
Everything is what makes you first
supplementation,
place to fourth place or to last place.
even practicing your
So-
posing, your conditioning, holding that isometric position from the
I would
posing is
tape
very
myself
important.
every day, and I would pose, and I'd watch the videos, and I would adjust my posing, and I would watch the videos and adjust my posing until I had the perfect.
You got to be
routine.
obsessed. Yeah.
Yeah, you have to be obsessed with it, which I was. That was 2011. That was what was it? I'm trying to think of the show that was.
This is when you're 38, you said, right?
Yeah, 38. Hudson Valley. That was the show.
You look unreal in that.
And
one.
that
Did you
show,
won that one?
I won the whole show.
Yeah,
And
obviously.
I ended up winning.
You look,
Yeah, I
you
won.
look
I
like
won.
Batista.
I won the middleweight class, and I won the overall. So it was my first overall. I was very excited. And from there, again, I said, let's take a shot at trying to be a pro bodybuilder again. So in 2012, I was preparing for the Eastern USA's.
So at 40 years old, you're going, I'm going to be pro bodybuilder. Most people try in their 20s. They're trying at 40.
Yep. So I picked out the Eastern USA because I would always do the open class as well as the masters. I wanted to see how
the difference.
I would see how I compete against the open guys in their 20s and 30s.
So open is any age group. Masters is above 30.
Masters 35 and up.
Okay.
So, I would, like, for example, 2012, unfortunately we had Hurricane Sandy. So the Eastern USA's was canceled, and I found a show in North Carolina, and we flew into North Carolina to compete, me and a couple of my friends and my wife, and I ended up winning there as well. I won the Masters there, and I came in second in the Open. So it was nice. It was a nice weekend. I was happy with that. And then 2013, I did the Eastern USA's again.
Let's see that if you pull up.
Yeah, right there.
I look good there too.
Yeah, so
A little heavier actually, a little bit, yeah.
Yeah, it was a different. My physique was getting better because now each year I had the muscle maturity. So the muscles were becoming more dense, more conditioned, and that was working out. You had to work out all year long. I mean, a lot of bodybuilders claim that they work out only during season of competing, which is usually 16 weeks, maybe 20 weeks max. I worked hard on putting a lot of muscle on the off season and trying to maintain myself to be at the top of the class for the on season. So I ended up going to the collegiate teen masters, which was in Philadelphia at the time, and I came in 9th place in the national class. So again, it was a disappointment, and we competed for years until 2018, and then COVID came, so there was no more competing during COVID. And then after COVID, I wasn't really into bodybuilding anymore, so I didn't compete any longer.
Now, when you were bodybuilding, how would you structure your workouts? I think a lot of people would like to know that. They're trying to get in shape, trying to change their physique. Maybe they want to get into bodybuilding themselves. There's all conflicting things about how to do workouts, what days to do what, how often to work out, how many sets, how many reps, how much weight, like how to progressively overload over time. Do you need to? Tempo training. I mean, there's all this there's so much information. Now, the problem now is there's too much information, right?
That is the problem.
So now we don't know what to do. So everyone's saying something different. So what do you think is the most effective?
I think you need to find what works best on your body. For me, I would do 2 body parts per day on a 4-day split. So the 4th day, I'm back to the original body parts. So I did every body part twice a week.
Now, the 2-day, when you do the body parts of the day, would you do antagonistic muscles?
Push-pull.
Right,
yeah,
okay.
I would do a push-pull program. So if I was doing chest, which was a push, I'd be doing back, which was a pull. So I do a push-pull routine. And then on my 7th day, I would be off. I would take that day off and just really go over everything that I did the week earlier. Look at the weights, the numbers, everything. I documented everything.
And then Arnold used to talk about he'll look in the mirror.
Yeah.
Just analyzing your body. That's what you hit that day based on if you look shitty here.
The mirror is very important.
Yeah.
Posing, learning how to be a great poser comes from the mirror. You look at yourself in different angles. You
I need to do more
flex
shoulders.
you flex the muscles. And, like Arnold said, we're an artist, like an artist that uses clay to create their artwork. We used muscle to create the art. So we had to take, specific training to build different areas of the body that were weak. And it was very important to have a balanced physique, small waist, good legs match the shoulders on the width part, size of the legs, the calves to the quads, biceps, triceps to the shoulders, to the chest, to the back. Everything had to match up.
Need to be correct.
Proportions were a very big piece to it. And, I took a lot of pride in that. So I felt that my physique was always very balanced, and that was something I enjoyed about it, is how I looked. So I was proud of that.
Right, give you confidence. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like if you have people have anxiety. Not very common for anxiety is on its rise. I'm not saying you don't have anxiety now, right? But I'm just saying like it just gives you more confidence in general. Like you feel more confident when you walk in a room.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Definitely.
So it's a good thing for men to do. Get into.
Yeah, I think weightlifting is for everyone.
Obviously, yeah, I know. Yeah.
Not only for the health side of it, but for the mental side of it. You feel more confidence about who you are as a person when you have control over yourself. And lifting weights definitely gives you a feeling of, control, where you feel strong and you feel safe and you feel like you could accomplish almost anything.
And it's you against you. You can't blame it on anyone else.
That is, it's a one-man sport. It's very similar to playing golf. It's a one-man sport. And you're competing with yourself, which is great because you get to challenge yourself all the time to be better than you were the year prior.
So now from age 12 to now, how old are you now?
I'm 56.
56. Let's go from 12 to 56. Every decade, every 10 years, 12, 22, 32, 42, 52. Every 10 years, what was different about your training? Because you trained all through that time period, right? So the training had to have changed because your joints, your structure, injuries, life gets in the way.
It definitely changed.
So explain the training structure, maybe the weights, the tempo, the type of training, the organization of it, how long the sessions change in duration, everything about that, how it changed from each decade.
I would say from 12 to 32 was all about heavy weights. The heavier, the better. I challenged myself with every set to be heavier weights every time, every workout, try to increase the weight and try to, if I increase the weight, I'd go down 2 reps.
What would be the rep range when you do those heavy weights?
Rep range, I would go, I'd always do my warm-ups. After the warm-ups, I would go from 8 reps down to 2 reps. I'd go 8, 6, 4, 2. Yeah. I'd pyramid down and increase the weight. And then I would always like to try out my max weight on like benching, for example, or squatting. The bigger muscles,
compound movements.
Yeah, the bigger muscles, the more compound movements, I would challenge myself to a max. Where biceps and triceps, I wouldn't do the same thing. So after I was into my 30s, it became more about shaping the body that I already had. So I would do higher repetition work where I would start off with 25 reps for the first set, go to 20, go to 15, go to 12, go to 10.
Sparing on your joints.
It is.
Blood flow. It's possibly good for your tendons.
Oh, it's great. You get a pump. You're trapping the blood. You're getting a pump, and you're not risking injury because you're not going with the weight that's going to be too heavy. Where as you get older, your joints and tendons don't hold up as well as they did when you were younger. So you're more likely to end up getting injured if you do challenge yourself to a max weight.
And now we can even get into training without gear. Training with gear, right? So now a common thing when people are training with a lot of gear, meaning like steroids, right? Not like wrist wraps, like actual like injecting gear. The difference is the muscle and the nerves. Your body just adapts quickly to the training, right? It gets stronger over time.
Yeah,
faster, much faster,
definitely,
at an exponential rate. But your tendon, connective tissue, fascia, ligaments. Those structures do not adapt at the same rate. They adapt at a much slower rate.
They do.
So now you can lift heavier, but also this is where the muscle tears and the and all those things come from. Tendon ruptures and everything, because this is like hypothesized that a lot of times when you're on gear, people purposely do that lighter weight, higher rep training. Not necessarily just because they think it feels better, it gets better result. It's actually just to prevent injury because the gear, the risk of it is that your tendon isn't adapting at the same rate as your strength.
I agree with that, definitely. And that was why I always increased the reps and, really wanted to trap the blood, keep the reps high, isolate the movements. And, I was injury-free my whole life. So as a bodybuilder, as a weightlifter, I never had any injuries, knock on wood. And that was due to training proper and always being aware of what I was doing. People in the gym like to talk and hang out and have a good time. You can do that after you work out when you're doing cardio and things like that. But during training, you should really be focused on your time because resting in between sets is important to not let the blood get out of the muscle and cooling down.
Hypertrophy
standpoint.
Hypertrophy is about increasing muscle size. Strength is about increasing force production. they're different things.
They're different things.
People think they're the same. They're not the
Yeah.
same type of training.
Not at all.
Strength training, you got to rest long if you want to continually
That's correct.
lift heavy. But hypertrophy training, you're actually just getting the metabolic. There's like different ways of getting the stimulus.
Yep.
But a lot of guys tend to do drop sets or supersets or things where they're not giving themselves as much rest on purpose.
Yeah.
So they could build up that sarcoplasm.
Trap the blood, keep it there, and keep going and try to make it where you almost to failure. So that was the way I trained. I trained to failure with almost everything. And
so now they do this new thing where they say reps in reserve, like don't train to failure. Do you think that's bullshit? Do you think everyone's pussying out? Like, what do you think that is? Is that even, that's like the science, the new science. Some people, there's a debate on it. So,
if you look at the best bodybuilders in bodybuilding, they all lifted very heavy. They all went to failure.
Right.
Look at Phil Heath, look at Ronnie Coleman.
Watch their training.
The training's there. Yeah. Even, Chris Bumstead, they all lift heavy and they all went to failure during their training. And that was a big piece that, would help build muscle faster.
Right. It gets the signal. To me, it's like those like stimulating reps. Like Mike Mentzer, right? Mike Mentzer always talked about this. He had a high intensity training.
That's right.
That he was doing less sets, but whatever set he did, it was so fucking hard.
Yep, to failure.
It was really to failure.
Yeah.
That he actually got results.
That's right.
Right. And they said it would be impossible. You need to do more.
One rep to failure.
Yeah, one set. Yeah. Right.
One set.
One set
to failure.
Mike Mentzer style. So that shows you that it's really about the intent behind your exercises instead of doing. A lot of people do now is like junk volume. They're trying to get too many sets. And
now in our day here, a lot of the competitors rely on drugs more than they did back when we were bodybuilding. So when you rely more on drugs, you feel like you don't have to do as much work. So they don't put in the same time as, per se, bodybuilders from the different generations. At the pro level, they've only gone further, lifting heavier and challenging yourself to failure.
Yeah.
It's more, you see it in
Dorian Yates. I mean, Dorian Yates is great. Yeah,
you see it more in the amateur field where people are in the gym
trying to do weird cable exercises. I don't know.
They're doing different exercises, strange things that I see them doing.
It's getting ridiculous. Don't you think it's getting at the circus?
It's crazy.
They're trying to make up crazy.
It's crazy.
The weirdest, all these attachments and straps.
Well, people get crazy, with plyometrics.
Well, that doesn't not for hypertrophy, but that's
but they mix it into bodybuilding and into weightlifting. It doesn't make any sense.
It doesn't. So, it doesn't make any sense.
They're adding things into the program which really don't need to be there.
Yeah.
And you're not getting anything extra out of it.
All you're doing is adding fatigue.
Fatigue, exactly.
The stimulus ratio, right?
You're more likely to end up getting injured like that. So really you need to separate. And to separate, you need to, be self-educated and know what you're doing. And, every bodybuilder has videos on Instagram that you can watch and see what they're doing and duplicate their programs. So why do you come into the gym and do these strange exercises? I don't know. Maybe you see a lot of people, they come in with their cameras and they're videoing.
Yeah, they're trying to get their own Instagram. Right?
Yeah.
They don't even think it's beneficial. It's more so they're doing it to be cool on Instagram,
that's right.
Be different. Because how many incline dumbbell presses are you going to watch on Instagram? It's like 1,000 of those, right?
Yeah.
But these weird cable exercises with one arm like this. And
they do strange ass shit.
On one leg and your eyes are closed. I mean, it's really...
It's true, though. That's what you get these days. I'm not a bodybuilder any longer, but I am a weightlifter. I will, I go to the gym now. I go 5 days a week. I love it. I'll never give it up. I love what it does as far as your motivation in life itself. You feel more confident, so you push harder. And, at 56, I feel, I'm an injury-free guy. And, injuries come from outside the gym for the most part. And, I tell people all the time, you want to stay healthy, work out, do cardio, eat right, and you don't have to take, you go to your doctor right away. The doctor's putting you on different medications.
Statins, diabetic.
And they're masking the issue. They're not really resolving it. They're masking it. And one thing...
Actually destroying your liver, too.
What happens is every time you see a doctor, he's adding something else on because whatever he gave you prior is now giving side effects that now you're taking something else to deal with the side effects.
And you said
something else to side effects. Yeah, it just keeps going.
So you eventually just
going.
die from the doctor killing you.
To me, go get your blood work every 6 months and eat right, train hard, take care of yourself, and you really shouldn't be on any medication, especially synthetic medication. Things that aren't natural. Supplements, completely different story. Supplements are designed to support what you're doing and help you. So now, again, same thing. We're crazy with supplements. Now, nobody was using mushrooms for working out. Now, ashwagandha is very important. Lion's mane,
mushrooms,
cordyceps. The list goes on. Then, you have Shilajit, you have all these different products that people are using.
Different styles, even like Chinese medicine.
Right. We don't really know that what's being claimed on those things is true.
Yeah, it's very new.
But you'll get a lot of people using them and buying them because they believe the hype. They watch a video that's like, your penis is going to grow 2 inches from taking this supplement.
I'll take whatever I can take.
They're all buying it. They're all buying it.
I'll eat all those Shilajit rocks. But out of all those things, the ashwagandha does have some validity in the research. However, there's some negatives of it. It's a mental health issues actually, because it does lower your cortisol.
Right.
But you actually want cortisol during the day. Cortisol goes on a circadian rhythm, right? So during the morning, you actually want your cortisol higher. Then as you go into nighttime, it gets darker out. You wear your red light glasses, hopefully, and then you get into sleep zone, and your cortisol drops, and it goes in this like wave cycle.
Right.
The ashwagandha, if at high doses, almost works too well and gets you in this weird state where your cortisol is never high enough. And almost gets you in this like depressive feeling because you're not reacting to things. Those people who are taking too many antidepressants and they become very like numb, like just like, oh, I feel great on these Lexapro. It's really doing wonderful. Those types of, and I'm sure it helps some people. I've seen people, they look like dead zombies and they think they're doing awesome.
Yeah.
But the ashwagandha works similarly to that. That's the negative of it, I think. So yes, it increases testosterone. It lowers cortisol, but how low do we want our cortisol? It's getting like
there needs to be a balance.
Yeah,
that's
so it's interesting. Some supplements don't work, but some supplements actually do work, and that could be an issue. Yeah, do we want it to work?
Well, how much should you allow it to work in your system?
Yeah,
that's again.
What about cycling? So people talk cycling off steroids. What do you think about cycling on and off supplements? No one really talks about that.
I think it's important. I think again we were talking about taxing your kidneys, taxing your liver. Supplements need to go the same process into the stomach, broken down. They go into the kidneys, they're broken down, minimal amounts of it actually get into your bloodstream. So during that process, you're putting a lot of taxing on your liver and your kidneys where, if you're doing it all the time and there's no break, you're overloading your system. And, you're putting too many pollutants at some point or in your system and you're not cleansing your body out. You're actually detoxing.
And then the detoxifying. You like the fasting, right?
Yeah, I like fasting.
You like doing these different soups and
I try.
Teas, I'm sorry. Teas.
Yeah, I try to fast usually 3 days a month, and then once a year I'll do a 7-day fast, and that's really to get rid of the bad cells that are in your body, the dead cells and the weak cells, the dirty cells, and to flush your body clean. So I'm a big fan. I'm a big fan of it.
I feel like my brain is almost clear.
There's so much clarity when you fast. You almost feel guilty going back to food after a 7-day fast.
Yeah.
Because you feel so much better overall that you're like, wow, I'm not going to go back to food. I feel like shit when I'm eating.
Yeah.
So, that's one of the challenges of doing the 7-day fast.
I mean, the 7-day fast is not really good for muscle tissue, right? You're in a catabolic state. But
to a point.
Yeah.
To a point, your body's going to protect the muscle. Again, there's a lot of theories of doing a 40-day fast just the same where you're really not sacrificing any muscle.
I don't understand how that's
I don't either.
Because to me, I figured the body would break down the muscle just to get glucose metabolism.
Yeah, it doesn't.
Gluconeogenesis, right, to break down the muscle tissue, but I don't know.
It doesn't. That's the weird thing about it. You end up.
Maybe your body adapts.
You end up.
I'll have to see the research on it.
It's almost like going back, to the old way of hunting, and where
you kill
certain people will go out and hunt, certain people will be at home, taking care of cooking the food and making things for you, and they only ate, early on, they only ate one meal a day. Or even one meal a week.
Or whenever they got
wherever it came in.
They ate a shit ton of food.
Right.
Then they starved for a while until they got to the next kill. Right. They weren't guaranteed. There was no grocery
And they
store.
still had plenty of energy to go out and hunt. And they had plenty of muscle to be able to tackle down.
They also had way more sunlight, way more, you know what I'm saying? They're more exposed to the natural God's
living outside.
Quote unquote God's natural remedies of grounding and sunlight and oxygen and community and
talking of grounding, I believe in grounding also. sunlight. So those are things that
Sunlight's definitely real. I mean, that's
very
like,
important.
it's so obvious. That
Very
sunlight's
important.
Yeah.
And I try to.
And vitamin D,
I try to implement all this into
supplementation
my
versus
daily
sunlight,
lifestyle.
right?
Right.
People big on vitamin D supplements, but it gets to the point where I don't even know if that's good. I think you're better off probably is getting it naturally from the sun, using your cholesterol in your body. You make all this extra cholesterol, right? Depending on your diet and genetics, right? You may have some extra cholesterol in your system. So that we can take that cholesterol and the sun can convert that cholesterol into some hormones for your body that actually help you into that vitamin D, into that testosterone. All those hormones are based off of your cholesterol working with the sun to create a synergy and to cause a chemical reaction to actually produce that vitamin D3 that you need. So,
yeah,
it's an interesting concept too.
Yeah, of course. It's like salt. Salt's not really bad for you.
Right. That is a big thing of blood pressure and all these things. Salt is the most important electrolyte. I mean, when you sweat, you sweat salt water. So then why are you drinking water? If you sweat salt water,
exactly.
why are you replacing it with water?
Right.
That doesn't make any sense.
I drink a gallon of water a day minimum, and I put salt in and lemon.
So let's go through actually.
I pH balance my water as well as I put the salt in there.
Right, the lemon changes the
acidity. The acidity. Yeah.
It actually makes it more basic, which is interesting because the lemon is acid, right? But for some reason, when the water comes with the water, it makes it a little different. It changes it, not significantly, but a little bit. Yeah. And also it adds potassium. Potassium is another important electrolyte for sodium absorption as well. Sodium and potassium are actually on this little balance. They work against each other.
We don't get enough minerals in our everyday food. So
especially because the soil's weaker. The soil's all like mass produced soil. It's not the same soil that our ancestors had. And all the nutrients from food, from especially vegetables and fruit and plant foods especially, come from the soil quality, right?
Right.
So all the nutrients are in the soil. So if you have shit soil that's just filled with cancer chemicals, glyphosate and Roundup and all that stuff is going in your system. Plus, it's not even nutrient dense because it's not even look correct. Soil is supposed to look a certain color. The soil today does not look like the soil from 1950.
That's true.
It's not the same thing.
That's true.
That's why the nutrient deficiencies are up, I think.
Well,
it has to do with the standard American diet as well.
That's true. And then also for the need to get fruits and vegetables faster. So they're cutting down on the process time and they're inducing them to grow faster. And you're losing a lot of the nutrients that come with it that way. So you're not getting as much out of it, where at that point you're better off supplementing than actually eating the vegetables and the fruit that you're getting.
Right. With all the pesticides and all the things on there too. They're almost adding a negative. And they almost get
I'm not a big fan of eating a lot of natural fruits and vegetables because a lot of them aren't meeting my needs.
And they have to be in season ideally.
Yeah, for sure. And you can see the difference when they're not in season.
So let's go through like a day in your life in terms of wake up time, nutrition, exercise. Just give me a standard day that maybe someone could try to follow a little bit, at least of what to eat and how to structure a workout. Give me one day. Give me like a Tuesday.
Sure, like a Tuesday. I get up in the morning. I have a bowl of oatmeal. Usually it's a cup cooked. And I have 5 egg whites with 1 whole egg. And then I have a glass of juice where I put collagen in the juice. So I mix up the collagen with my juice. I drink that. And that's basically my meal 1. So I try to do a meal every 2 to 3 hours.
With about 30 grams of protein a meal?
Depending, somewhere between 30 and 40.
Okay.
I walk around about 200 pounds. So I try to get in 200 grams of protein for the day. So I'll break it up into, anywhere from 30 to 50 is the range. As I get closer to night, I try to make it where I've already met almost my protein needs. So my last meal isn't as large as the meals prior. So I go from the biggest meal in the morning to meals that are big, smaller. I try to get 6 meals in for the day.
So you flip it up. You flip the pyramid upside down. You go slow. Yeah, most people eat a big dinner, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Most people skip breakfast, slam a coffee, go to work, open the laptop, have the boss yelling at them for
too many people skip breakfast,
and then they eat. Then they eat a big dinner light, and then eat ice cream, and then try to fall asleep.
Breakfast is breaking fast. So the idea is to wake your body up and ignite your system, so you're now functioning at a different level. Where a lot of people skip breakfast and they go about the day drinking high caffeine drinks, and they won't take anything, and they'll have a small lunch, and then they won't eat anything until dinner. And they'll have a huge dinner,
and they overeat, and then they snack, and then that's what.
And then your body can't break everything down, and they're wondering why they're getting fatter and they're eating nothing.
Right.
You know, I'm eating 1,000 calories a day. I don't know why
they're
I'm
eating
getting
more.
fatter.
They are eating more calories.
Of course
They don't
they are.
even know that they're eating
Yeah.
it. They don't count all the extra bullshit.
Yeah.
All the weekend drinks and snacking and like, oh, I just had a couple of pretzels. Like it
Yeah.
just adds. Everything adds up.
Everything
Counts. So in the liquids,
Yep.
fluids, you know, drinking your calories. I just want to get into now your workout. Let's just keep it simple. Let's do top 3 exercises for each body part. So no matter what day, they could pick. All right, this chest day, give me 3 exercises for chest.
Yeah.
So top for bodybuilding. What do you think?
You have flat bench, incline bench, and cables.
Cable flies.
That would be my 3.
Okay, let's go back.
Back, I would do seated pull rows. I would do pull downs and pull ups.
Okay, let's
Those
do
are my 3.
just buys, and you can do
Biceps, standing barbell curls, seated dumbbell curls, seated preacher bench.
Nice.
Triceps, you do tricep push downs, tricep skull crushes, and tricep kickbacks.
Killing it. All right, let's go. And the kick is interesting. Like, let's just go over it. The kickback is because you want to hit the long head of the tricep. There's a reason to why you're selecting.
It's an isolation, so you get all 3 heads of the tricep.
Yeah.
Yeah. So legs,
Quads first.
Quads, I would start with actually extensions. So leg extensions, go to leg press, leg curls.
Oh, not leg curls.
If it was 3.
Of 3, but not for it's just quads. Just quads.
Just quads again. I would do extensions, leg press, and squat.
Squat. Okay, like a hack squat.
Right.
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay. Or what do you think? Like Smith, you could do any squat, I guess.
I mean, I love the Smith machine.
Yeah.
You know, and I love hack squats. You know, if you want to isolate better, you know, you're better off with the machines like a leg press, for example.
Right. The machines are better for bodybuilding, and
definitely.
Than the other stuff is better for sports, better for general fitness, and just better for strength.
Yep.
And it still could be used for bodybuilding, but over time, if you're going to really be bodybuilding every single day, hardcore, the barbells could beat you up over time.
They do. They do.
So the machines are a little more forgiving.
Squatting breaks you down. It's compression.
Yeah.
You know, and over time, you're compressing so much on your back, you're crushing your discs. You're putting a lot of pressure on yourself, and eventually,
from a longevity standpoint,
yeah, you get a lot of injuries come with it.
So there's benefits to machines. There's a whole thing from like 2010 to 2020, anti-machine.
I love mixing machine into everything.
But the machines have a lot of benefits that people don't understand.
I believe it's very important to add machines into your training.
Because people say they're not functional and all this shit, but it's
they're
functional.
actually better.
I don't know, depending on the purpose. Like they don't understand what functional means. What the fuck is functional?
No.
Functional for what? What's your goal?
Well, getting range of motion. Yeah. With a machine, you're getting full range of motion. Where
isolation.
Where you're lifting a free weight, you're focused on stability, and you might not get full range of motion because you come down 3/4 and then you push back up,
and not as much effort into the movement because your body's so focused on self-organization and stabilizing,
stability,
which is important to work on, developing separately. But if your goal is just to get the muscle to look bigger, you know,
machines come in best.
Machines help.
Yeah, they're going to give you the best return.
More force production, more mechanical tension, more potential to do progressive overload over time in a safe way.
Definitely.
Okay. So that's a debate that's a big debate in the industry. So I think for bodybuilding, machines are the way to go, and for longevity. All right, so let's just talk about quickly legs. So now let's go hamstrings, opposing sides. So hamstrings.
Yeah, hamstrings. I would do stiff legs. I would do lying down leg curls, and I would do plie squats.
Plie squat. I'm not familiar.
A plie squat is basically you take a dumbbell and you hold it between your legs, and you come down to the floor with your knees going out, and you're sitting down.
Like a sumo style.
It's like a sumo squat, exactly. Okay. It's great for the hamstrings.
Interesting and different. I wouldn't even think of that as a hamstring.
Yeah.
Okay. Adductors, you're kind of hitting indirectly with the
you know, you should add them into your routine anyway. Abductors and adductors. You know, leg workouts usually end up coming long because there's a lot of muscles to work with.
Yeah.
You know, same with shoulders. Shoulders.
Let's go on the shoulders next.
I was going to say, you know, I'd like to do traps on a separate day because you have side delts, front delts, rear delts. You know, your traps, your shoulder press. So there's a lot of different movements where I try to leave traps for a separate day where I could do traps on their own.
Do you do traps with your legs sometimes, or traps is just like?
I just mix it in usually, like if I'm doing smaller muscles.
Oh, maybe if you're doing an arm day.
Yeah, like on arms.
Tries.
Like on arms when I'm doing like tricep push downs, I'll do some traps in between, things like that.
And shrugs, obviously.
Yeah,
traps are going to be complicated.
Well, shrugs are great. That's really the only thing you need to do.
Yeah.
Yeah, shrugs really do wonders for your
And
shoulders.
then abs, you like the cable crunch, you like getting the range of motion. There's
Yeah.
debate on this, right? So
I
a
like
lot of the
ab-
modern people say
abs every day.
just abs you can do every day, but plus
Yeah.
they say don't move your spine. Your spine should be rigid like a
Yeah.
statue. But really,
You
there's
have to.
muscles there.
Yeah, you
so
have
how
to.
do they? There's no eccentric control. The muscles are meant to move.
You have to do a crunch type movement where your head comes to your knees.
Right. They're saying don't move. The new
in
thing,
order
saying
to
the plank.
yeah,
The whole
yeah.
era of like this stabilization bullshit. Yeah.
Yeah. No, I've always done elongated
And no back
abdominals.
issues. You know what I'm saying? It doesn't, the thing that doesn't cause back issues.
Not at all.
Actually, it may help your back.
Definitely.
You're improving your range of motion.
It's releasing pressure on your spine.
Yeah, getting blood flow in there and
definitely
fluid movement.
Definitely.
All right, so we have the abs, obliques, obviously rotation.
Right,
movement.
side obliques. Yep.
Right, we said everything.
That's everything.
Yeah,
that's it.
So now you can do any workout you want at the gym.
Yep.
Boom. So you have that.
Simple
breakfast.
enough.
And then for lunch and dinner, let's just get into your lunch and dinner.
Yeah, usually lunch I like to do chicken, so I'll do chicken with mixed vegetables, and I use white rice. I don't have a problem with the rice. Some people like brown better, whatever. As far as the glycemic chart goes, it's not too much of a difference. And then dinner, I like to go with the fish. I do steak only like a couple of days a week, so I'll do steak maybe 2 or 3 nights, and the other 2 or 3 nights of fish. And if I'm using fish, it'll be anything from salmon to cod to tilapia.
Okay, just because salmon's a little higher in fat, but the other ones are leaner, right?
Yep.
But the salmon benefit is omega-3 fatty acids.
Well, yeah, exactly. You need the good fats for lubrication for the joints and tendons, and it's healthy for your body. It gives you more energy as well.
Plus hormone health, right?
Yeah, hormone health.
Hormones come from fats and cholesterol.
That's right.
So they demonized that for a while, but it actually tanked a lot of people's cholesterol.
Yeah.
Tanked a lot of people's hormones. Sorry.
Yeah.
Okay. So now the newest thing, most popular, so besides supplementation, training, nutrition, quality sleep, hydration, socialization, sunlight, grounding. Let's just get into like the newer things now. We'll just touch on it a little bit. You've been experimenting with these new things called peptides. Can you just explain exactly? And I've been doing as well.
It's not really new.
I know it is.
It's new to us. Peptides been around. It's DNA basically. So, our branched chain amino acids made up of 191 amino acids. Our branched chain peptides are a part of our body. So now we're learning about the usage of peptides individually to enhance different things that we were once looking for supplementation. So now, for example, I use a variety of different peptides myself, and I personally seen the results from them, which has been spectacular.
And they have less side effects. Pretty much no side effects.
No side effects.
Some have side effects, maybe a little bit the GLP ones. But
that's GLP. That's different.
The less side effects than steroids, right? And they're not giving you the same benefit as steroids, but it's almost like a natural, healthier version of something that's close to steroids without the negative.
Well, if you look at testosterone, somatropin, and ipamorelin,
which is growth hormone,
those are all growth hormone related type of peptides that do help increase testosterone levels and growth hormones. So you're actually getting steroid type of results from them
without the negative side effects.
Without having to worry about side effects from steroids. So they're very interesting. And then, we were talking about for fat loss, like the retatrutide, that combined with like MOTS-c, for example, those two combined together work spectacular on breaking down fat and flushing it out of your body. So
it helps you while you're doing your cardio or doing your exercise, doing your dieting.
It's going to speed up the results you're looking for.
It just puts your body, it fixes the body and tells it what to do better.
Definitely.
It naturally produces these peptides on its own. All these are just strands of amino acids that your body already has. It's just kind of replacing the ones that you lost over time, or maybe the signal is not as strong as it once was when you're like in your teens, right?
Right.
So depending on whatever happened in your life, so you're kind of like, it's almost like fixing, it's like repair guys, going there and fixing problems.
That's right.
Plugging up holes. And
that's exactly what it's doing. Yep. We're going to get more into peptides
on the next podcast.
Yeah,
but for right now, just give me your top 5 peptides stack.
My top
you can only have 5.
If I can only have 5. Okay, I would go with GHK.
This GHK copper, and why? Why you'll go describe them a little bit. So why that one?
All right. Well, it's good for elasticity.
Your skin.
For your skin, helps with getting rid of blotches in your skin. Different. Anything from stretch marks to aging lines, things like that, helps tighten all that up. Then I would go again, like I said, retatrutide.
For the weight loss.
For the weight loss.
Agonist, so it works better than the trizepatide and the semaglutide.
That's correct. And then I would go with MOTS-c.
MOTS-c, and it's a
Yep.
mitochondrial
That's
fat
it.
burning,
You
fat
need-
utilization.
You
peptide,
need that
right?
mitochondrial effect going
Yeah.
on, so that's important.
The powerhouse of the cell.
Yeah, and then what
That's
else?
three.
NAD.
NAD plus. That's an
NAD
energy
plus.
molecule.
That one,
It's used in a lot of chemical
I think
reactions in the body.
that's one that everyone should be using.
And then people that do
You
that,
know.
they do the IV NADs. They
Yep.
sell the pills; they don't work. But there's IV clinics where they do NAD
That's
IV
right.
drips and
That's
stuff. So
right.
it's becoming more of a
And
mainstream
I
thing.
close it out with testosterone.
Testosterone for
Yeah.
the growth hormone effect,
Yep.
and for visceral fat reduction.
Yeah,
Visceral fat is what kills you. That's the fat
That's
around
right.
your organs.
That's right. Very
So you
important.
have. So let's just confirm it. So it's GHKCU,
Yep.
NAD plus,
Yep.
MOTC,
Yep.
Retatrutide,
Yep.
and testosterone.
And testosterone. Those
Those
are my
are the
top
top
five. Yeah.
Right. Now, a lot of people would say, like, what about the Wolverine? What about BPC 157,
Yeah.
TB 500, and
Well,
those
you know,
ones are good as well. But
They are, but again, like,
that's
you
for
know,
injuries more.
there's a lot of controversy with having like Glow and Clo.
Mixing them together.
Mix them together, you know, a lot of controversy saying that, you know, GHK gets destroyed with TB and BPC. So, you know, I personally have used Glow for recovery and I thought it worked great. I don't, you know, really believe that hype that, you know, it gets destroyed because I saw the results using it.
Right.
So,
And
that's a personal opinion.
anecdote,
you know,
right?
yeah. So
Now, here's the debate on this. BPC 157, TB 500, the Wolverine stack, the healing peptides, injuries gone, fixed. Amazing. You couldn't believe they fixed your knee. Knee's been fucked up for 20 years. Take this stuff, it fixes it. Now, if you have a problem in your shoulder, which you did, right? So you had a problem in your shoulder. Let's just do a real example.
Yep.
Every other peptide, for the most part, about 98% of them are subcutaneous fat, which meaning they're going in your stomach fat
Yep.
or around your side fat, anywhere where there's any subcutaneous, which means outside the body, subcutaneous fat, right?
Yep.
They're fat side. They go through there in that interstitial fluid in the water.
Right.
Okay, so now the BPC 157, TB 500, those ones are for healing injuries. So there's a debate on whether we should be shooting those directly into the injury site, or is that a subcutaneous fat just like everything else?
Well, they say TB 500 finds the issues in the body and heals them.
So that could be sub-Q, it doesn't matter.
Where BBC
Is site-specific? I didn't know this. So you're
site-specific.
teaching me this right.
Yeah.
I had no idea about this.
Yeah.
So you're teaching me this right now. So I didn't know about that. Okay.
So yeah, so
BPC allegedly the newest
Yep.
concept. We don't know.
Yep.
Everything's very new. But based on what we currently think,
right.
it seems like the BPC is site specific, and you
Yep.
noticed a benefit from doing that yourself, right?
I did. I noticed the benefit from
Because
putting
you
it.
had shoulder surgery, you had two
Yep.
rotator cuff tears. What
Yep.
exactly happened? And your biceps teared off the bone.
Yeah.
Can you describe your injury a little bit?
Sure. I fell on black ice. It was the first injury I had in my life. I tore both rotator cuffs off, and I tore both labrums and the top head of both biceps in one fall.
Terrible.
Yeah, it was nasty. So
And that led to a depression.
yeah,
all kinds of
it
issues,
led
right?
to a lot of issues. You know, it's a tough recovery. You know, surgeries had to be 6 months apart. You know, recovery time is slow. So I experimented with Glow, and it really made a difference in my recovery. You know, my doctor, you know, I'm 56 years old at the time. I was 54, and my doctor couldn't believe how quick my shoulders were recovering. And I owe it all to the Glow for sure, 100%. You know, I did, you know, physical therapy.
Your own physical
but-
therapy, basically, right?
Yeah, and I went
You
to
went to the
physical
real
therapy.
physical
I did.
therapist,
I
yeah.
went for like 10 weeks, and it was great. You know, they help a lot, but you know, it was nothing magical to say, oh, my shoulders would heal so fast from it. No,
No.
the healing definitely was from the direct shot of the Glow.
So it's just so weird. So why do you think that they're trying to crack down on these peptides? If they're so effective, they helped you with your injury.
Wow.
So why do they not want us to have them? Why are they cracking
My
down?
opinion is it's all about aging and, you know, population control. And if we are able to slow down the aging process and, for example, healing cancer and healing dementia and Alzheimer's and things like that, people are going to live much longer, and we don't have room.
We don't have a capability to handle that.
Well, no,
issue.
we don't.
That's
and,
interesting. They
And
want us to-
that's where I see it.
I think it's an interesting point. I don't think you're wrong.
Yeah, you know.
That's
So-
I know you're the first one to bring that up. A lot of people bring up the pharmaceutical industry has money involved.
Well, that's always been a part of that. You know, so controlling what you could say and what you could take is definitely pharmaceutical related. But again, population control, I believe, is a big piece to it. You know, look right now, they say was it Russia and China are now talking about, cures for cancer, and it's peptide related.
Really, I didn't know
Yeah,
that. So
yeah.
I said this on the podcast a couple
Yeah.
weeks ago about I think the cure for cancer is going to be through peptides.
Yep.
And now it's actually coming out that
Yeah.
they're using peptides
They're
to
using
possibly
them.
cure
Yep.
cancer.
They're actually making claims that they can cure cancer.
But they're trying to lock it. They're gonna crack down on these peptides because
Yeah.
they're gonna work too good.
That's right.
That is the issue, right?
That's
It's
right.
kind of crazy.
It worked too good.
Because it actually does work. It doesn't have
Yeah.
side effects. It doesn't
Yeah.
fuck you up like these pills that they try to sell you.
Yeah.
So I don't know.
Be careful, your car might stop mysteriously on some train tracks if you keep
That's
talking
right.
about this.
The doors are locked. The doors are locked. Yeah. Bring a glass.
That's why I don't have an electric car.
Bring that glass
Want to hear my
breaker.
thing about electric cars?
I
The reason why you
can
don't buy
imagine.
an electric car is because they can control that electric car at any moment. They can just
That's right.
fucking shut it down, or they can make it go fast and speed into it. This is not a joke. I'm being serious. The electric car right now, Elon Musk from his home could scratch his balls and hit a button and have your car smash into a building. If you
That's
wanted
right.
to.
That's
At any
true.
moment.
And that is
And you're willingly
a
accepting
scary
that.
fact.
Yeah.
That's right.
That's scary.
I don't like electric cars either. I'm a big fan of keeping gas, and I like muscle cars. So for me,
You're a little bit of a car guy.
I'd rather rely on the gas.
Favorite car? Just give me your favorite car you ever owned.
Mustang.
Mustang.
Yes,
That's it.
that's it. I'm a Mustang guy.
Mustang
I'm
guy.
a Ford guy across the board. I like
Yeah.
the trucks and the
American
cars.
made, baby.
American made. I
Yeah.
believe in it. Tried and true. That's right.
American steel, baby.
That's it.
All right. Thank you for watching. This has been an episode of The Pump. Thank you, Jason Gianelli.
Thank you for having me.